All right, this is Roger Bianchini in the Royal Examiner National Media Studio with Front Royal Warren County Economic Development Authority Board Chairman Jeff Brown and Executive Director Doug Parsons. Thank you guys for coming in during this end of the COVID year.
Happy to be here and happy it's nearly over.
Yes, indeed. But I wanted to do a little end of the year perspective because there's been some exciting news as the year's been winding down. And some big prospects for 2021. Well, one of them's a sure thing already, Silent Falcon, which sounds sort of like an action movie.
Yep.
And may well be for you all. And then the potential of landing a regional distributor of medical marijuana and selling Ball Drive the big warehouse at the same time. So let's start with the one that's a sure thing. Silent Falcon is a done deal, right?
It is a done deal. Yeah, it's signed, and now it's just they're going, starting the process of moving in.
And how did that come about? Did you all find each other? I mean, I know you've been marketing Ball Drive for a long time, trying to get rid of that huge warehouse. Mm-hmm. Doug, you're the nuts and bolts guy.
Okay.
Day-to-day operations.
Right.
How did you come to Silent Falcon, and how did they agree to come to you?
Right. Well, so Silent Falcon was a lead that was brought to us through the Virginia Economic Development Partnership, who is a state development agency for Virginia. They brought the prospect to us in the summer. At first, it didn't look like we were going to be able to land a project because we didn't have an existing hangar at the airport, and they needed to be at an airport, obviously, given the industry that they're in. But working with the county, we identified a building out there that will certainly do on a temporary basis, if not a permanent one.
In the vicinity of the airport?
Yeah, it's actually the county's maintenance hangar.
Okay.
And so Silent Falcon looked at the hangar and decided that would work for them to get established here. And if things go well, of course, down the road, they may expand their facilities at the airport. But anyway, we worked with them through the summer, worked with the county, the FAA, the State Department of Aviation, and we were just able to get the deal put together. And I'm extremely grateful to the different departments at the county, the State Development Partnership, and all the other collaborators that made this project happen.
Takes a lot of people working on the same page to make good things happen.
It does. And in economic development, it's never one person that brings a new business to town or a new project. It's almost always a collaborative effort, because that's what it takes to get a company to relocate or expand.
And are they going to be located at several different places in the county? I know they're going to be based at the airport and have I think an educational role with RMA's program that they have out there, but they're also
Right.
going to have other locations. And is there much job creation potential for them arriving here?
Sure. So, they'll have their assembly and manufacturing, testing, and operations out at the airport. They are looking at taking down office space off-site somewhere in Warren County or Front Royal, and we're working to help identify viable locations for the office space right now.
Maybe the renovated afternoon.
Maybe the renovated afternoon. Wouldn't that be perfect? But in any case, we found a couple of places that look good. Through Christmas and New Year's, the company is putting together its plan to ramp up here, and I think within the next 3 to 6 months they'll be looking for the office space component. Within the first year, they plan to have 20 to 30 office workers in the office at the location here in the county. They will be software engineers and developers, so they'll be very good jobs.
Now, will some of that be people that will be relocating that already work for them, or are they going to be hiring totally new staff in this area?
It'll be mostly new staff, because right now the company only has 16 or 17 employees, and they're projecting to grow. They're projecting to add another 249 people over 3 years. Some will be at the airport, some will be in the office space, some will work remotely, and be on the job sites that the company has. They have different government contracts and private sector contracts that take them all over the country. They do reconnaissance work for firefighting out west in the big fires. And then they do a lot of pavement scanning because they developed a new technology to scan pavement for runways and other road surfaces and give very detailed, accurate reports that that are needed for the FAA inspections for runways, and then for road analysis to see what kind of shape the roads are in. They can provide this kind of data much more quickly and effectively than what's previously been.
So the social media rumor that I heard that there was going to be either no or as few as 7 jobs created long run for this is not an accurate
That is
social media rumor.
Yeah, it's
Right.
just a rumor.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah, actually, the company's made it very clear that they'll give Warren County residents priority if they're able to do the particular work that the job calls for. They're going to get priority. So that's kind of a nice benefit that we get out of this as well.
And do we have a time frame on when they're coming in and setting up initially at the airport? How
Sure.
their process is going to evolve in 2021?
Right now, we're working with the county and the company to get a new concrete floor poured in the building that they're going into. They wanted a new concrete floor with a nice epoxy finish like you'll see in a lot of runways, or I'm sorry, in a lot of hangars at airports, because they want to have this be a showroom for their products. So that's the first step, is getting the floor poured, and then they will renovate the inside and outside of the hangar. This will remain a county-owned property, and we're looking at a 10-year lease with the company. The company has signed the lease, and at the board meeting on January 5th, we'll be asking the County Board of Supervisors for authorization to advertise for the public hearing that's necessary anytime the county leases out a property, a publicly owned property to someone. So that'll be an
I believe I
opportunity.
saw that on the agenda for the meeting next week.
So that'll be an opportunity. The company will come. If the public does have any questions about their operations or what they plan to do here, that would be yet another opportunity on top of the Airport Commission meeting that we just had for the public to interface with the company and ask them questions.
And I guess a lot of us have sort of stereotype ideas about drones, your little small delivery type drones. But I was looking online, and some of their drones are actually essentially airplane size. They have, like you said, they do a lot of different things, surveillance, firefighting, but some of them are literally airplane sized drones, aren't they? Which I guess explains why they want to be at the airport.
Right. Their flagship aircraft is called the Silent Falcon, and it's a airplane with a 16-foot wingspan, and it's about 6 foot long. And it carries a lot of the technology, whether it's the pavement scanning technology or, infrared technology is great for search and rescue. I know over in the mountains of West Virginia, they had a lost child 5 or 6 years ago before a lot of this technology was out, and it was an autistic child. And some of my friends went over to help search for the child, and thankfully they found him within 48 hours, and he was fine. But you can imagine if they would have had this technology, they could have flown the Dolly Sods Wilderness area in a matter of minutes and found that little red dot where that lost child was with that infrared technology. So I know the company is interested in working with both the town and the county law enforcement to help offer their products and services for search and rescue operations here. So.
And I was telling the sheriff about this company coming in, and he had the biggest grin on his face. And his first,
He said, "Oh yeah."
yeah, his first words were search and rescue, and they've actually, I think, already reached out and started to talk about how they might be able to help. So I think they're going to be good neighbors in addition to being a nice addition to
That's
the
a great
county.
side benefit.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the other exciting news is the potential of landing a regional medical marijuana distributor, not just for Virginia, I believe, but a good bit of the mid-Atlantic East Coast area. But that that's sort of up in the air, as we were talking a little bit before we came up here. It's dependent on the company you're dealing with. Parallel LLC, I believe it is.
Yeah, LLC. Yeah.
Getting the contract. There's still a number of companies bidding for this contract.
Yeah, there's a competition that the state is run. There are actually 5 regions that they have in the state. This is for Region 1. The other ones have already been bid and awarded, but the group that was originally going to be in our region didn't work out. So they're rebidding it, and there's a number of firms that are competing for it. The initial award will be in mid-February, and then the final award would be in March. So,
And Parallel is just dealing with you all.
yeah. They want to have a building where they can manufacture their product, secured and ready to go. So if they win it, they can start ramping up immediately.
And we were talking a little bit about the competition. There are different companies that are sort of aligned with different county and economic development
Right.
areas. Parallel has a pretty good resume in this regard. They're not new at this, right? So they are fairly well positioned competitively, do you think?
Yeah, a number of things. They've learned a lot. They're in 5 states, I believe, already. They're in 5 states where they've gone through the same competitive process with other firms, and they're certainly one of the biggest in the country. They've learned that by developing local connections. That one, it's good for working with the community that they're in, but also it helps them further their the medical part of what it is that they do, and they put emphasis on the medical rather than the marijuana, which I think for this kind of a license is exactly where they ought to be. So they are working with several universities on projects if they get the license, where they would be researching the medical benefits of marijuana, trying to make it more effective, trying to create products that will really help people who have chronic pain, who have tremors and other things that it's really useful, or they have problems sleeping. So
Yeah, it's been, from some things I've read, sort of a miracle cure for like seizure type symptoms for some people. Children, I think,
Epilepsy.
had very good results.
Parkinson's.
And we were talking a little bit, I think being a relatively new product, that there have been some issues with the delivery system and taking it in pill form, going through the stomach, the intestines, the liver, takes a lot of the effective product out, and they're researching more direct ways to get it directly into the bloodstream without going through your whole digestive system.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of new products coming out. I know that they're talking about having patches like the heat patches that you'll see, but this would be actually for delivery of pain remedies for people who need it.
Sure, the nicotine patches.
Like a nicotine
Yeah.
Stop
patch.
smoking, get your
CBD.
nicotine straight into you.
You could do both at the same time, maybe.
So February, March, we'll know how that
February
pans out.
17 is the current target date for the Board of Pharmacy to make the announcement.
Right.
And then I believe they would award on March 30.
All right, and then we did mention the afternoon earlier. How are things going on the sale to the redevelopment group, now to East Maine LLC? I believe in the story we just did a day or so ago. It was originally Mode LLC, and then some of those partners fell out, but Jim Burton, who was one of the partners originally, got a new investment partner, Mr. Omar from Northern Virginia, Alexandria, I believe, and he made it a little maybe more financially stable.
Yeah, I think he's more the developer side of it, and then Jim's the architect. So,
Right.
and then Jim is a nationally recognized,
Right, right. It's
really a
impressive to
world-renowned
be-
architect. Yeah.
to be in a small club of, what is it, AA architects.
It's top shelf.
But-
Absolutely.
You need to get the sale done. How is that process going? I know you all have been talking with the town.
Yeah, a long-term goal of ours for anything, let alone just the afternoon, is to work more closely with the town. So we're talking with the town about how best to handle the afternoon. I can't really get into the details of it. We all agreed that it was better if we talked and tried to work out the details and then come in with something. So we're working on that.
You're not going to invite the media to these discussions?
Well, you'll be hopefully, when we have it all lined up, you'll be front and center.
Oh,
So,
there we go.
but
That will be exciting news too.
but we're hopeful. We've been talking with them, and we look forward in the new year to finishing the talks and hopefully moving ahead. Our concern is that you have a building that's now been hit by 2 winters, and we're getting ready to have a third, and it's time to move on. It's an eyesore for the town and the county. It doesn't look good for our business district, and it just makes a lot of sense to either move ahead with what 2 East Main's going to be doing, or to tear it down and do something else with it.
Well, I think the whole process back in 2014 of swapping the old town hall that the town had grown out of and was sitting vacant
Right.
for the afternoon, which was then owned by, I believe his name was Frank Barris, a Northern Virginia developer,
Yep.
who had a run-in with the town council back around 2007, I believe it was. He had a plan to put a fountain, as I recall, on the first floor, and he was going to have to raise the whole building up, and it was going to be, I think, about 10 feet taller than the courthouse, which is against town code. No building can be built. But the Board of Zoning Appeals had granted him an exception, but then the town council and their legal department sued them to reverse that, and he became sort of belligerent after that, and was just appeared to be willing to sit on it and let it crumble to the ground, wouldn't communicate with the town anymore, and the EDA coming in then to swap the properties to be able to market it and save it. This has been the game plan for over a decade now.
Yeah, it isn't exactly what anyone would like. It's taken way longer than it should have, but we really are trying to hold to what the original vision was, which was to rehab the afternoon and make it into an anchor for downtown. The drawings that you had in your article, by the way, nice article.
Thank you for the help.
Happy to give you thoughts on it. But it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to be something that's attractive, and it's going to really help our downtown. So we're very hopeful that we're gonna make headway.
And
on
the
this.
plan, as was pointed out in the article, will create business for other businesses already downtown. There will be staffs in there for businesses, possibly residents as well,
Yeah.
who will frequent other businesses
Yep.
along East Main.
And it'll be a place that people can go to and get that end of Main Street more active. You have the pavilion up at the other end, and it'd be nice to have a place that people can go to and sit outside and enjoy that part of downtown as well. So I think it's a nice balance.
And Jeff, you're chairman of the EDA Board now. You were vice chairman until Ed Daly, who was chairman, got the call from Warren County to come over and be interim county administrator.
Right.
Now there's some discussion of that process taking as much as almost a year and a half, 2 years, of talking of possibly not replacing Doug Stanley permanently until 2022. Has that impacted how you guys are looking at Ed coming back? Because I know you've sort of kept that seat vacant
Right.
when he was finished with that job, he would come back to you all. I know he wants to do that.
Yeah, I would tell you that more than likely we'll be looking for somebody to come on to it. It won't be us looking, of course. It's the county board, but that next year we'll probably move to get a seventh member. We stay very busy, and to have a seat empty is tough on everyone involved. We have a lot of things that we're doing, so it's good to have a full board.
And I think initially, possibly they were thinking that the permanent replacement would have been hired by the end of this year, but that sort of changed
Yeah.
as they were developing their plan.
Yeah, I think that the county had to decide what they wanted to do and how they wanted to handle it, then figured out how Ed worked into it, and then I think that the thinking is that he'll stay on longer than had originally been thought, and would
And
come back.
he does bring a lot of experience
Oh yeah,
to bear there.
He was
Yeah.
the national president of the International City County Managers Association, which is a very big deal. And he was recognized by that national agency just a few months back, I think right before he started with the county. And I can't remember the award that they gave him, but it was a recognition of his excellence over 40 years of public service.
right. So
Well-
he brings a wealth of experience there.
So it's not a bad interim choice,
Not at all.
especially if you're going to stretch it out for a while.
Right.
Speaking of the board, other than that one seat, you have a fully staffed board now, and from covering the EDA over the years, I'm impressed with the people you all have plugged in, including you, Jeff. Can you address the process of the membership being filled out now with essentially a totally new board of directors than was in place when the problems financially happened?
Yeah, it's
Did I state that tactfully enough?
Yeah,
Financial
well,
problems.
of course, the county makes the decisions on it. What's been nice is they've asked for input from us on what kind of board member do you want, what credentials do you want? Are you looking for somebody with expertise in a particular area? And they've been pretty good about finding folks that have done that. The silver lining of the EDA scandal really is that we have a lot of talented people stepping up and saying, hey, I want to help. They realize this is something that it isn't just for the good old boys to kind of have something that they do for a half hour every month. That this is something that they really need to get into and get people to know what they're doing. And that's the kind of folks that we have on board now. So it's a much different board. It's more aggressive. I think that we're making better decisions. We're asking a lot more questions. We've been preaching all along transparency and accountability, and I think that we're hitting on both cylinders. So that's good.
Speaking of social media, I think there was a little social media flutter a few weeks ago that somehow the EDA might be involved with the Sheets project out at the base of Apple Mountain in Linden. Mm-hmm. And I think that might have revolved around the fact that Jory Martin, who's one of your board members, lives up there and I think was on the Property Owners Association board or something. But straighten us out on that. The EDA doesn't have anything to do with the Sheets.
The EDA has nothing to do with it. Jory, I believe, was her firm was the firm that handled sort of the property management issues for them. But she's now I guess tired at the
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow will be her last day she retires, so she's out anyway. But EDA has never had anything to do with it, and nor did it ever
It's
come
private
up.
sector property, isn't
Absolutely private sector. The whole thing is that. So, one of the
it?
things
Sheets is not a normal business you would recruit for economic development.
Correct.
Typically not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about some things I know about. Is there anything on the horizon? I know you're always working in recruitment and retention. Anything coming up that we should keep our eye out for?
We're hearing that the folks at Equus Partners are reactivating their project out by the regional jail on the 20 acres out there to build a 325,000 square foot warehouse and logistics center. Of course, they were attracted here by the inland port, which is one of our greatest economic assets. So we're hearing that they may start construction as early as this spring and be able to deliver the property sometime in the fall. So I'm very excited about that, to have all that space to help market alongside Equus to try to bring in more jobs and tax base for the region.
And you mentioned the inland port. I guess a big selling point for Warren County is our intersection between two interstates, I-66 and I-81.
Right.
I mean, it's a major transportation hub.
It is. It's such a huge, it's got to be the most underestimated economic development asset in Warren County is the inland port and the transportation.
One of the things that when we were working on the website was just seeing where we were in relationship to the Mid-Atlantic, and so I worked with MapQuest, and we're 8 hours from the Canadian border. We're 8 hours from the Georgia border. You know, we're 8 hours to Boston, 8 hours to Indianapolis.
And that's
You
overran
could-
by truck traffic.
This is truck traffic. This isn't flying or doing anything like that. So we're almost as perfectly situated as you could be to cover the entire Mid-Atlantic, roughly.
We are mid-Atlantic.
We are mid-Atlantic, and the exciting thing is we cover in about a 10-hour drive half the country. Half the country is just 10 hours from here. So from the standpoint of a company coming in, and it's an exciting prospect to be able to move their products, which is why logistics is one of the key things that we're promoting. The other two things are technology and manufacturing. And that gets us into our strategic planning, which we've been doing and will continue to do, to help not just as companies come in, react to them, go out and seek companies to help encourage them to come here, to build the website and the stories that we have to tell them, to do that, to recruit ambassadors from the local business community to help bring us in, which is an RMA contact was cited as a major reason why Silent Falcon came.
I was getting ready to mention that connection between Silent Falcon and RMA's program, where they used the drones, have taken some pictures for you in the past.
Yep, and it worked out well. They this is Brian
Kelly.
hit it off with the owner of Silent Falcon, and when he was talking about it, said that's a major reason we're coming, because of RMA. And I'm very hopeful that this will start drone clubs in our public high schools as well. And there's no reason they couldn't get involved in something like that as well. These are very community-minded businesses that we're trying to work with, and they fit perfectly into Warren County.
Well, it's good to see positive dominoes falling, leading to something like that.
Oh yeah.
Well, anything else you can tell us as we move towards 2021 here in 2.5 days?
I think the key right now is just to be safe out there. We're looking at it has nothing to do with economic development.
We all
so
have
much.
our masks here.
We have our masks and
we
putting them on.
so we could talk for Mark's microphone on the camera.
But we're going to have a spike more than likely in the entire state, and certainly in Warren County as well. And I just encourage people to be safe and to take the precautions that they've learned over time. So,
and hopefully the vaccinations they've approved will be effective for the virus and doesn't mutate away from the vaccines.
right, yeah. Let's hope there's not another problem. But
Well,
anyway, well, thank you very much. We appreciate all that you all do and giving us the opportunity to come and talk to you.
all right. Well,
Absolutely.
appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap.